I am truly sorry, because I might offend you as a viewer. And if you are a sensitive viewer, don't tell me that I didn't warn you. I have done some calculation. I'm 180 centimeter long. That's about 5 feet 11 inches. I weigh 80 kilos, and when I was competing in go-kart, I weigh 5 kilo less. But to maintain the 75 kilos was a difficult task, so in this calculation I actually removed that parameter. Then I add the 18 kilos and I end up with 98 kilos or 215 pounds. So this is it. If you are 180 centimeter long and weigh 98 kilos or more, don't even think about or look at the Visage package on your GT3 RS. Looking at the GT3 RS creates a lot of impression. And one thing that I have concluded is that it's not the design that attracts. The GT3 RS I actually consider not as good looking as the standard GT3. But all the attributes forms the passion and the distinguished focus on racing, creating a lot of attraction. It is like looking at a woman with perhaps too many tattoos. You cannot take your eyes from her, creating a curiosity of the art. I think that is how I feel when I look at the RS. All the attributes catching my eyes, wondering what purpose, why did she make this tattoo? And I feel a lot of privileges standing in front of the GT3 RS and doing a review of what is to become an icon, the last natural aspirated GT3 RS. What? How do you know that? Is it confirmed? How? Are we totally sure? How? Last natural aspirated? Crying out loud? How do I get one? What will the value be? Why, Porsche? Why? Do we need to change? Are we sure? Could this be true? Who's the informative? Porsche leaking? How could it be? I don't trust this man. What does he mean we're lost? Is he talking about the 991? How can he be sure? Why? This cannot be true. Why does he publish this? What has he been eating? Is he on drugs? He cannot just say things like that. I need to have this confirmed. But what will it be instead? Turbo? Perhaps a hybrid? I don't trust this guy. And how does he know that? No! I cannot handle it. Who has told him that? Putin? Trump? Preuninger? I know. His mom told him. Don't ever underestimate my mother. The pressure around the car has never been larger. More or less, all governments blame the car for the pollutions and the effect it has on the citizens' health, and for good reasons. As a consequence, citizens demand lower emissions, putting high pressure on the car manufacturer, writing the last chapter of the natural aspirated engine. But one thing is for sure, the next GT3 RS will be faster. So just turn into the B road. First impression of the RS. First the right corner, feels great. I have the PASM in the sort of comfort mode. Let's test the, whoa. What about the brakes? I think I have to warm up the tires. Remember the drawing from my GT3 track day experience? I explained the differences between the GTS and the GT3 manual. and I have added the RS. This is the starting point when everything is in balance. The chassis, the driver, the engine, the tires. That's where the car starts to feel great. And that line is extended on the GT3 manual and even more extended on the RS. And then the increase of speed gets you more and more engaged until a certain point that, well, let's say, not so nice things happen and you go off the road. And obviously the electronics of the modern car helps you out extending the lines. And in this case the tires were not at the right temperature and the tire pressure was not in balance. That's why I had this experience of having a prepared driver, warm engine, but cold tires. And I felt it immediately when I pushed the brakes. So I'm back. I have heated up the tire for the GT3 RS. It didn't take me a long while, just be clear on that. You just have to work through building up the temperature and then you are on. That's very important. So first impression coming into my familiar B roads. Grip, ladies and gentlemen. We are talking about the top of the top when it comes to performance at Porsche, and you don't need kilometers to find that, you need meters. 21-inch rear wheel, and combine that with 325mm of width, it creates a lot of grip. But it's not just the diameter of the wheel, it's also the wheel, the Michelin Cup 2 tires that many people in the business talks about. And many argues that what would the track time be if you put these tires on the previous RS, etc. Obviously the performance will be improved. But bear in mind, when cars are being developed, they tune in the car to the material that are present at this point. One heritage from the GT3 RS is the NACA air intake. Not only do they look good, or should I say a nice tattoo, the NACA intake will take the air from coming up from the front and then push it down and through the channels directly to the caliper, making the air cooling of the calipers more efficient and increasing the downforce by 30 kilos on the front axle.
Like sunshine and moonlight, like warm and right, like pillows and pavement, like an accident and what's meant. We're like pillows and pavement, we're like saved and spent. You're like $10,000, I'm like nickels and cents. You're like fresh spring water on a hot summer's day. You're like a beautiful sundown when daylight fades.
I do have the same and more or less the same engine in my GT3, but enjoying the sound in the RS are totally different, because in my car you're much more engaging with the manual gearbox, and here it's more or less like put on your favorite track record and simply just listen to it. You're not involved in creating the sound. It's handled by the astonishing PDK gearbox, and in terms of creating the sounds it's doing a great job, but it is not, unfortunately, like the manual gearbox. But the handling in this car are one step higher than in my GT3. That's for sure. You know, that we don't have to argue about. You can feel it, you can touch it, and the brakes, the ceramics brakes, are much more connecting than the steel brakes. But again, there is a question on financing, and if you're going to do a lot of track days, because if you buy an RS, that's what you're heading for. And the brakes, like this, heavy brake coming in slowly, and then give the, ooh, you know, the grip that it creates is so nice. But you have to push the RS much more than I have to do with my GT3 to get the driver experience. That's just how it is. And I believe that on the B roads, yeah, I would rather have my manual GT3. It's much more engaging than you have in the PDK. The front suspension of Gen 2 of the 991 GT3 RS are twice as stiff as its predecessor. Also, the air outlet in the wheel arch are larger. So the function of this is that the air created inside will have a smoother way out from the wheel arches, creating more downforce and less drag. The brakes, the PCCB brakes, are magnificent, but also it gives you a benefit with 14 kilo less unsprung weight in the front axle. Front lip has actually been modified quite a bit because it's gained 15 kilo more downforce compared to the regular GT3. It is difficult to explain how huge the rear wing is. It has to be experienced live. And in fact, the GT3 RS rear wing are more aggressive than the GT2 RS. In fact, you can adjust this rear wing to give you 50 kilo more downforce compared to the GT2 RS, giving you the possibility to reach 35. I love the fact that the GT3 RS are 70 kilos lighter than the GT2 RS. Mainly, that's the engine, in fact 35 kilos. And the titanium exhaust creates a different sound compared to my regular GT3. It's not a huge difference, but it is a different tone. But you have to be careful when you buy your GT3 RS, because the, let's say, demands on all car manufacturing when it comes to exhausts and the pollution they make. The later manufactured GT3 RS will be equipped with a more distinct particulate filter, or GPF as it is called, changing the sounds. The aerodynamics of the GT3 RS could not be mistaken for anything else than pure racing. I have been privileged to drive race cars, and you might think that that is a difficult task. And from a physical perspective, yes it is, exposed to heavy G-forces. But when you have the perfect setup of your race car, it is extremely easy to drive. That's how you feel when you drive the GT3 RS. Everything is engineered for you to become the fastest man, woman on the racetrack. And you will, believe me. Easy to drive is not equal to fun to drive. When I bought my first GT3, the 996 Mark I, I was asked how it is to drive. My answer was distinct: it's a race car for dummies. Sony and Microsoft are doing a great job catching the experience to drive full-blown track day car without having to leave your home. On the B roads, I'm having as much fun in a Carrera T, Carrera GTS and my own manual GT3 as in the RS, and perhaps more fun. But you will miss out on the perfect engineering not driving the RS, and on the racetrack we are way behind. Here is a great design development at Porsche. The later deliveries of the regular GT3 was equipped with black racing harnesses. That's great that they keep it in a color like black that does not interfere with the overall design. In this case, I think it is astonishing that it is black. Great news for the American market. Previous generation of the RS has been fitted in Europe with plastic rear windows to decrease the weight. And on this generation, the heritage from the mobile phones, etc., had made it possible to fit light rear windows using glass. I'm drowning in Alcantara. It's beautiful. It is creating a lot of attraction, gives you that race car look and feel. The lizard green stitching combined, especially with the painted lizard green roll cage behind me, frames the experience. Personally, I love when the GT car starts from the regular GT3 are more settled and more focused on driving, having less leather Alcantara inside. That's a personal taste. I feel the traction in this coupe to such extent that if I was to option out my GT3 RS, this is how it could look like. Perhaps it is the roof that is one of the most design attributes on the car that attracts. It has a ditch in the center. The reason for that is to make the roof more stable, but it also lowers the coefficient drag. And perhaps this is the reason why the 911R looks so much better than the regular GT3 Touring. The GT3 RS is 28mm wider compared to the regular GT3. That's 1.4 centimeter on each side. And it also changes the shape of the fender. This is more a shelf straightforward design, whereas the GT3 kind of sweeps around the tire. GT3 RS, the seductive woman with tattoos. Perhaps too many. She wakes up the passion within you. She is mysterious and thrilling, and you don't want to lose her. But the GT3 is the woman you marry.